Gohan the Beast. Found this cool image on Pinterest. Don't know if it's a fan art or... oh wait, there's a name. Horang 4628 drew this. Wasn't sure if it was AI or what. It's cool. Side view, he's got like an animal like pupil. So let's try this. Landscape page, pencil eraser, hit pause if we go too fast. His head profile, like tilted back. We'll give him the long hair. I'll go maybe not as big, but because it's ridiculously big, but we'll go back as far as we can anyway. So we're up here and we can just see one eye, so it kind of makes it easier for us, right? So Dragon Ball eyebrow, tick mark, check line, and it kind of curves down because his head is tilted, right? So it goes down this way. Boop. Okay, and then we'll go a different sort of eyebrow line on Beast Gohan. It kind of curves around that way, right up to a separate other spike, I think. So like I think it goes like up and then spiky down again, and then we'll bring it in towards the eyebrow at the front. It always gets sort of thinner as it goes down as well. And maybe like a bit of a frown line or something up there. Bum, bum, bum. Right, so they give him kind of a dark, it's like Imagine Vegeta sort of eyes, right? So we got the shorter line here towards the nose, and then a longer line down that way, right? And we will darken it up, but we'll just curve it together first. Boom. And then we're just going to make this a little bit thicker all the way around. We're kind of making him look like a villain, sort of. Okay. So he's looking down at us over here, and like his eyes are like intense crazy. So he's got like a circle for his iris, kind of down near the corner, kind of just down here. And you just draw that intense red pupil or iris. So should I say it's not the pupil, the color part of his eye, just a circle down there. If circles are difficult, use a stencil or a compass. So in there then we give him an animal slit of an eye, so like this, like a thin, like crazy looking pupil like that. And then we got the standard check marks on his cheek, just sort of going down this way. And maybe some like hatching around his eyes and stuff as well. And some hairlines back here I missed. Okay, so his head is like tilted that way, right? So his nose is kind of like it's like straight across from this part of his eye, the corner part. And we got extra sort of frown lines and everything, but we'll just get the nose, right? So we'll just go that way. So it's like coming out from the eyebrow, nearly parallel, like nearly the same line, but it kind of curves down a bit. And then the tip of the nose is kind of square, like skinny square, you know, kind of, it is relatively pointy. And then it goes down that way. We don't see any nostril, it's not drawn in. Sometimes Dragon Ball draw them in, sometimes they don't, but like a typical sort of Dragon Ball thing would be the shadow sort of there, but just lightly, like it's, this guy who drew this didn't add much. And I think it looks better because it's sort of simpler. Right, and then we've got that frown, that sort of W frown that Dragon Ball characters have in the middle of the nose, the top of the nose. As well, we can see like a tiny little bit of the other eye, but it's kind of part of the forehead. So I'll just finish the jaw part first, and then we'll deal with the forehead. So from the bottom of the nose, we do the lips, and the lips always remind me of a capital letter M. Right, sometimes the bottom one can be like a bit bigger, but not by much. Right, and then this comes down to the chin, and then he gives him like a real square chin, like chiseled sort of features, right? And then this will just go around. It kind of becomes his neck, but we do see a little bit of jaw sort of there, kind of lightly going that way. Oh yeah, and the mouth. So you just downturned serious mouth line. Just there. He is not impressed. And there's all sort of blood and stuff coming out of it. So you can do that with sort of scratches and hatching lines and all that. It's kind of running down his face. You could color it red, obviously, as well. And he's got scratches all over. But I'll add those details when we get to that point. So the jawbone then, just leave a little gap. And the jaw comes up like underneath his pupil here. Curves around. It just goes up to his earlobe, which is here. And then we got a sideburn down lower than the eyebrow. And this would be the top of the ear. Coming around this way. Ear lines inside. Just a couple. He actually does a shadow sort of form of that as well, like a little, he actually draws in the ear hole. So there's actually like a dark black section in there. That's optional, but you never normally draw that in. Right, so then sideburn here. So it goes this way, up, like that, and there might be like lines there. So then this part of his hair comes this way, and it goes down towards the forehead. Might be a bit spiky, you know, because there's all hair coming out of there. But the forehead basically comes down to where I said the eyebrow would be on the other side. But you can barely see his other eye. So it just kind of comes out to a little eyebrow shape, tiny now, barely visible. And then maybe just the side of his eyeball or something there. But again, nothing sort of majorly visible in there. Okay, so his hair kind of comes out from the back of his neck and swoops that way, and he's got that one big spike that comes out here. So we get sort of some of the neck in, right? So say like the back of his hair is like, you know, here. And then you have all the hair spikes coming out this side, and then the front of the neck down here to a very sort of stretched Adam's apple. And you know, we got like neck muscle lines all in here. Lots of different ways of doing this now. Sometimes you like here, like your throat joins your jaw with this extra sort of little section in there sometimes. And then I guess the longer part of his neck is just coming down from the hair here. And this is like his bumpy trapezius. Now, so beast hair. So we'll go what way? So I guess we got like a couple of small spikes here first. Now, you can go as big as you'd like with this. So I might tame it down a bit. I guess the big one will be there, would it? Where I had. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so big ones here. So I'll build up this section because it's going like back maybe to where, like here maybe. No, maybe I'll go for it. Right. And then we'll bring this back in. Then we make another one here. More that way. 1, 2, 3. And then this comes all the way to the front, I think. This one maybe does. Down to there. There should be another one. I'm going to do another one here. And then we have the big front spike. So we'll go and we'll join it all together then. So this will go down into there. We'll do one more this way, maybe. Then maybe another part of this just going into there, just make it a bit bigger. So then there's a couple in this section as well. So say, so that sort of joins that one, and then there, and then we'll do another one in here. So we'll go like that. And maybe this will keep going that way then. Okay, so again, it is, you could do it bigger if you wanted, just. But I think that's kind of big enough. Right, and then texture lines. So you just add your texture lines to each hair spike. Lots of them. Just following the hair spikes, each one. Yeah, you can do more or less than this, but that looks okay to me. And then he's just bare chested, so no costume on or anything, and then covered in blood. So the anatomy is kind of cool. It's like, it's kind of stylized. So we got like collarbone going this way, right, and then big shoulder. And like just a bit of a bump there. Like chest, tricep, very pointy sort of angles and stuff. Bicep there, and then his shoulder blade, like his back is visible here. And it goes down behind his tricep, going in that way. And then chest here. So very lean, not overly muscular. Well, like he is obviously, but for Dragon Ball it's tame. And then like some abs just down the front, with some oblique muscles just drawn in, kind of like little curves or letter Y's just descending down there. And then we got some deltoid muscle lines, and maybe some tricep lines just in there as well. So I'm going to scratch him up. So he's got like lots of these sort of scratches and scars and everything. So I'm just going to add all these hatching lines pretty much everywhere. Just makes him look like he's been beaten up a bit. Do do do. Boom, 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 boom. And then he's got like all this red energy around him. You can add as much of this as you want. It's kind of like red lightning or something. And it's just, it is really like kind of glowing red sort of thing. So the beast. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.